particular text where leaders are made, the tagline of Toastmasters, that is absolutely fine to put. So these are the three things that you can look at: the logo, the lockup, and the word mark. These are basic presentations of how you can, this is like a understanding, a summary as to how you can keep the logo on any promotional material that you make. The Toastmasters logo should definitely have Toastmasters International written properly, and only Toastmasters International written on it. There should be no District 99 or Division K per se to be written on the logo. You can, of course, if you want to mention the district, you can do it exactly where you mention the website or where you mention the tagline of Toastmasters. Otherwise, you do not have permission to say to put it around the logo anywhere else. The logo has to be properly in perspective. It should not be disproportionate, which means you cannot slant it or glide it or any of that sort. It might look nice, but you are not permitted to do so. If you notice, the Toastmasters International logo is a globe with its longitudes and latitudes. That is a necessity. You have to put it. You cannot just put a plain circle and have the word mark on it. And the backgrounds that the logo contains have to be definitely according to the guidelines, and no random color can be used. You cannot glorify, which means you cannot put any glow or sparkles around the Toastmasters logo, nor can you put the tagline on the logo. You can definitely put it just below it, like it shows on the left side, but definitely not permitted to put it on the logo. Well, it might seem that there are a lot of rules and regulations as to how one can use the brand entities, but that is only to let any third person who's looking at the logo understand what this organization is about. So nothing should disrupt that. Now, every brand has restriction as to what colors they can use, because that helps the organization to define themselves. And the 4 colors that we can use here are true maroon, loyal blue, cool gray, and happy yellow. Yes, happy yellow is the name, and you definitely cannot use any other bright yellow or any other shade of the same. These 4 colors can be easily found on any of the guidelines or any of the logos that you look up for on the website, on the Toastmasters website, and it can easily help you in creating the posters or any other promotional material that you want to create. Now, another thing that we have is pathways. For the members in the meeting who are not aware of what pathways are, these are just the particular ideas or concepts that you want to follow or you want to excel in when you are in Toastmasters. Well, of course, we can always talk about pathways a little later. But again, pathways is also a part which defines Toastmasters, as it only helps us to understand what we want to go ahead with. So again, the same guidelines here as well, only 3 colors: full color, grayscale, and white. And you cannot crowd it with any content. You have to have particular amount of space around the logo of pathways. And of course, the minimum size has to be 72 pixels on the website, or at least 1 inch when you're printing it, so that it's properly visible and not pixelated. You can, like it's mentioned, you can download the same from Toastmasters website under logo. The pathway badges or the pathways that you would like to go ahead with have to be only these. You cannot come up with any particular type of pathways of your choice, but only the ones that are provided by the Toastmasters, and only these particular logos can be used, or shall I say, should be used for making posters, or again, any promotional material that you wish to create. These badges are also available at the same website, toastmasters.org/logos. Now, fonts are a very important part of any promotional material, because, well, if you don't write, then what do you do, right? So fonts, well, there's one called Gotham. There are, I would say, 2 or 3 fonts that can be used. The first one is Gotham. You can see, you can use ultra, black, bold, or any form of Gotham that you see, except Gotham has to be paid for. So usually the alternatives to Gotham are Montserrat, which is a similar looking font, and definitely that is something that I always prefer to use when I am making any promotional material. And apart from that, it is just simple. You can use headline. You can use the content for headline, subheadings, or any content that you want to put on your poster. The second type is Myriad Pro. Again, this is paid for, and an alternative for that is, well, Source Sans Pro. Now, you might have to look up for these fonts, and it might seem to you that you're not able to find them, but I can assure you that you can definitely have Montserrat for usage, and also Arial, which will come to in the coming slides. So yes, I'm so sorry about that. Yes, Arial is also to be used, like it is mentioned on the slide. So there are 3, I would say 5 types of fonts that you can use, which is Gotham, Montserrat, Myriad Pro, Source Sans Pro, and Arial, where Gotham and Myriad Pro are to be paid for. My personal advice would be usage of Montserrat, because it looks good. However, Arial is very basic and not very aesthetic per se. So you can go Montserrat if you don't have Gotham. Now, next we come to image and photography. Well, you might wonder what images we can use. How can we define what Toastmasters, define Toastmasters through photos and images? Well, I can help you out here. You see a lot of content here. I can just summarize it for you. You cannot in any way use cartoons, illustrations, clip arts, or landscapes, animals, children, food appliances, medicine, architecture. These are things you cannot use, because these are not relevant to Toastmasters. Hence, that gives you an idea that you can only use images that define Toastmasters. Now, what does that mean? That means the environment, or the environment of the photograph, should show how engaged or how empowered each of the members in the meeting is, because that actually makes people understand how important or how significant Toastmasters becomes in one's life. And it is not just because it has to be shown that way to the world, but it actually is true. It has changed lives, and that is not because people just came to the meeting and sat there, right? They were engaged and they enjoyed the meetings, and hence we have so many Toastmasters around the world. So you have to make sure all the photos are with respect to meetings or presentations, speeches, or conferences, etc. And it looks like everybody is enjoying or is participating. And as I already mentioned, things which are not connected to Toastmasters, for example, landscapes, animals, children playing, food, or medicine, or random architecture or building photographs, which might be aesthetic but are not related to Toastmasters, cannot be used. You should always make sure that every photograph that you use are permitted, to be used for the same purpose, and not and have to be taken care of the trademarks, please. That is very important for everyone to note. These are a few examples of the photographs that you can use. You see how there are conferences, there are meetings, there's networking, and there are people having a conversation. So this totally defines what Toastmasters, or what happens in a Toastmasters meeting. Hence, these photos are all right to use. Now, where can you find resources? Well, there is one very important part. There's only one very important place where you can find everything, literally everything that we have told you till now. The brand portal. Again, toastmasters.org/brand portal, and you will find each and everything that we talked about: the logo, word mark, all the business cards, photo templates, etc. Even email signature, which I'm going to come to next. Email signature is, say you have a designation in Toastmasters and you want to mention your connection with Toastmasters in an email you're sending around, you can find email signatures as well on the brand portal. So resources, one, brand portal, toastmasters.org/brand portal, and you will find everything that we discussed about, and of course email signature as well. Now, standards and procedures. You have to have trademark requests approved. Every time you're using any content, you have to make sure that you get the trademarks right, the copyrights right. And this is because if one doesn't make sure or has an approval to something, there can be problems in the future. So you can always request for authorization. There are video guidelines that you have to follow. The club name or the district number should always be placed below the logo to indicate which club or district has created the video. The credits should always be presented in the end. You have to always have written permission from every individual who is present in the video. You cannot, without permission, have one person in the video any times. So it's very important. Again, you can submit a request on the given email ID, brand@toastmasters.org, and you will be okay to go. As every organization has its own presentation ways, Toastmasters also has its apparel guidelines, and there are t-shirts and cups that one can use. They also follow guidelines that we have to follow. The logo and the word mark should always be in the front of the t-shirt and not on the back. The words or the typing on any t-shirt or jacket should not be more than 12 inches wide or 17 inches high. Well, you can always find these things on the brand portal. And once you want to go ahead with an apparel or any kind of material that you want as approved from Toastmasters, definitely email them on brand@toastmasters.org and they will respond to you. The website guidelines: when you're creating a website, you have to have made sure that you read the protocol 4.0 section 2, because it makes you understand how you can create the website. Every club has a website, but every club follows guidelines. You cannot at any cost have violate the brand guidelines. And like I said, you can again approach Toastmasters on the same website, same email ID, pardon me. Corporate club guidelines: when you're creating materials for your corporate club meaning a company that has a Toastmasters club, for example, InSync or any other, or say any company, TCS, for example, they also have to use Toastmasters logo and corporation logo both. And of course, there are other few guidelines that have to be followed. So if you have any questions, you can always email them. The gavel guidelines. Gavel is used in all meetings without fail. When you're creating materials for the gavels, again, you have to make sure that you follow the same guidelines that I discussed regarding the logo or regarding any its promotion. The colors, district conference guidelines that held across the areas, you have to make sure, again, there are a lot of guidelines that have to be followed. You have to have the Toastmasters logo and tagline, but that is again optional. It's on you. If you want to choose to have them, then you have to make sure that the elements are standing alone and unaltered, and they are not crowded. You should always mention the sponsors. Well, I think it's not just Toastmasters, it's any event that happens has to always talk about their sponsors. Sponsors have to be mentioned. And you can create a custom logo or a theme for your conference, but you should again make sure that you don't violate the guidelines, or don't violate the copyrights. So again, if you have a doubt, you can definitely email Toastmasters. Last but not the least, the policy 4.0, the intellectual property. There is always policies that are followed by all organizations. There is Toastmasters governing documents, which has mentioned the specific policy and the protocol for anyone to talk about the intellectual property. So please definitely go through it. It's again brand portal under the brand standards. That is like a 2-3 page document. So I will just leave it on to you, and I because I know that you are going to go through it. So thanks a lot, everybody, and I am glad that I was part of the workshop and I was able to help you through the basics of the brand. Thank you so much. I hope you were able to understand each and every part of it. If you have any doubts, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thanks.
That was such an enthusiastic, informative, and illuminating session that we just finished. Can we have a huge round of applause by unmuting your mics for both Toastmaster Ankita and Toastmaster Purva?
Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, so our next session for today is going to be decoding designs. What exactly do I mean by the designs? I feel that design is thinking made visual. And today we are going to get to
Cannot hear him. Uh,
Jitesh, you are
Hitesh, there
on.
might be a connection problem. So
yeah, I thought it was me.
Akash, can you please take over because I think Hitesh
Yeah. So our next
is not able to connect.
session is mostly about flyers, and today we have two of the PR maestros, the District 41 Excellence Creative Manager Toastmaster Sahil and Toastmaster Anirban, the Division K Visual Designer, to show us the basics about flyer. So I'll hand over directly to them. You can take on the stage now, Toastmaster Anirban and Toastmaster Sahil.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Akash. I'll just quickly share my screen and then I'll start. Yes, so very good afternoon, one and all present here, and thank you so much, Toastmaster Akash, for that introduction. I welcome all of you again into Exploring Public Relations workshop organized by Division K. Now, in the previous session, you learned the all the basics of a brand, and this session is called Decoding Designs. And as the name suggests, we will be taking a deeper dive into the designing aspect of public relations. As Vice President Public Relations of a club, we all have responsibilities. Every club releases a certain number of flyers every week about their meetings. So the flyers are basically starting with is the Toastmaster of the Day flyer. As you can see here, is my screen visible? Can anyone respond?
Yes, Anirban, it is visible. You can continue.
Thank you so much. As you can see, the Toastmaster of the Day flyer, the purpose of this flyer is simple: to let your audience know who is the Toastmaster of the Day and what theme he has chosen for the meeting. And I have selected a very clean and neat design of a Toastmaster of the Day flyer, as you can see, it's a very simple and minimal design. It serves the purpose fully. It's the Toastmaster of the Day's name, picture, his name, and also the theme, and there's also some details about the meeting. Then comes the individual speakers flyers. The purpose is again simple: to let your audience know who is the speaker, what is the speech title, who is he mentored by, and what's the name of his evaluator. Some people also mention excuse me, some people also mention the pathways that the speaker is pursuing, and there's obviously the details of the meeting. Now both of these flyers have very simple purpose, and both of these flyers look very neat and clean. It's easy on the eye. So most VPPs have a certain template that they have created, and they edit it and re-edit it every week. They just change the name and the pictures and release it. Now there are some people who try to change the Toastmaster of the Day flyer every week according to the theme. So if you want to challenge yourself in a creative way, you can definitely do that, but there will come a point where some of the themes you will not be able to make a flyer on, like here. That's why I have chosen this flyer. Here it says the earth offers abundance. Now if you have to create a flyer on earth offers abundance, I don't think it will be too much appropriate on that. Like you will have to put a lot of things to explain the entire topic. Also, some Toastmaster of the Day select EDMs as their themes, so it will be hard to make a flyer based on that theme particularly. So it's always easy to create a neat and clean template, be it in Photoshop or in Canva, and just edit it and release it every week. Of course, you can change the templates once in a while, but doing it every single week will really be a challenge. Next comes the agenda flyer. Now again, the purpose is very simple. Agenda flyer is mostly the last flyer that a club releases before the meeting, just before the meeting, and it has every single detail of the meeting with the flow. As you can see, like president, then comes Toastmaster of the Day, general evaluation, prepare speech 1 2 3, table topics, general evaluation. There's also the names of ancillary role players. Now as you can see, there are no pictures in this particular flyer because there's so much information in it, and if you try to put pictures of every single one, it will just be too much for a flyer, and it won't be easy on the eye. Right now, even though there are so many information, there's so much information in this particular flyer, but still it somehow looks clean and simple. You can read it if you want to, even in a phone. Then some clubs also release the a flyer, particular flyer for their general evaluator, or if they are having any guests, or big Toastmasters, say a district officer or a division officer, someone, or someone from Toastmasters International, sorry. So they also release that. Again, the purpose of this flyer is also simple to let the audience know who is the general evaluator of the meeting. Okay, I will not be going deep into the branding guidelines because you have learned it in the previous, but before making designs, we all need to keep in mind one thing, that in every single design, or every single design we make, and every single flyer we release, we have to maintain and follow the brand guidelines, because Toastmasters International have a specific number of guidelines that we have to follow. Now the guidelines have recently been updated. I'm sure all of you know, all of the VPPs already know, but for people who don't, that there were 5 colors, but now there's only 4. The red, the CD202C has been removed from the branding guidelines. It's just the maroon, blue, and gray, and yellow. And obviously there's white and black. So you cannot use this particular color anymore. Now also making a clean and neat design, gradients is something that people use very much often nowadays. So gradients, Toastmaster International instructs that to make gradients, you can pick any brand colors and you can mix white into it. Like here, you can see a gradient I have created using the using the Loyal Blue, which is 00416, and I have just added white into it, and it looks nice, clean. It also follows the guidelines. What you cannot do is that you cannot mix 2 colors to make gradients. It is strictly not allowed. Here you can see I have mixed the yellow and the blue to create a gradient. Though it looks somehow good, but it is not allowed. Toastmasters International only instructs that you're only allowed to mix white into a color to make a gradient. Now with gradient, there's also you can also play with the colors a little bit by decreasing the transparency. So here you can see that Toastmasters allow decreasing transparency up to 70 to 80%. Here you can see a color, which is the blue. Obviously it is at 100% transparency. This is at 80% transparency. These two, though like this one looks a bit brighter than this one, but it is still close to this one. But when I decrease the transparency to 60%, it creates a whole new color. So you cannot just do that. So Toastmasters allows you to decrease the transparency or increase the brightness of a color, but to a certain limit, so that it does not change into another whole another color, right? So this much, till 70 to 80%, the color still looks same. But if you go less than 70, it will turn into a whole different color that is just not in the brand guidelines. Now we will be going more into the designing process of each flyer, and to help us with that, we have our District 41 PR, a member of the District 41 PR team, and also the Vice President Public Relations of Elite Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Sahil. Toastmaster Sahil, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anirban, for wonderfully conducting this session. And good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are enjoying this particular session. It is me, Sahil Sangai, and I'll be conducting, and I'll be sharing the process that I follow while making our own club's flyer or District 41's flyer whenever I get that opportunity. So, before I go ahead, I have a question for you all. Let me first share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes,
Sahil,
sir.
it is visible. You can
All
continue.
right. So the question to all the VPPRs and guests out here is that which software or which application do you normally use to make your club's flyer or any flyer? You can type it in the chat box, please. Canva. Okay, the most favorite one, Canva. Okay, so as I can see, most of us are habituated of using Canva. All right. So I'll be focusing on one aspect and we'll be elaborating on that of why we design and how can we design. Just a minute. I'm facing some issues in changing the slide. I'll stop sharing and I'll reshare it once.
Sahil, you're on mute.
Okay, so why do we design? Firstly, we are the face of our clubs. As the Vice President Public Relations, we must have taken the oath or the pledge to serve our club in the best of the abilities we can and to represent our clubs as the faces of our clubs. Secondly, it shows how creative we are. Now, being a part or being a member of District 41 family, we all know how District 41 is in terms of designing and in terms of promoting stuffs. There's a lot of challenge and the PR work is definitely very creative in when we come to the clubs of District 41. So it is our responsibility to showcase the elements of our normal clubs meeting or the events that our clubs have in the best creative possible way manner. And thirdly, as I said, it is our major responsibility to showcase the outsiders or Toastmasters from outside of our clubs. What kind of qualities, what kind of speeches, and what kind of elements we have in our normal club meetings. So, this basically are the reasons or the sub reasons why we design. Moving on, what elements do we need to have when we design our normal club meeting flyers? Firstly, the club details, which is club name, area, division, district, and sometimes if you are willing or if you are using, you can also mention your club number. Second, the objectives, which is what, where, when, and optional why. For example, when we design a TMOD or the Toastmaster of the Day flyer, who is the MC or who is the master of ceremonies of a particular meeting, we must ensure that we mention these three or rather four objectives of what kind of meeting we are having, where, the location, is it online or is it offline meeting, and when, the date. And sometimes when we organize any specific event where we are targeting members from outside of our clubs, be it open house, we must mention why we are conducting that particular session. So in a single flyer itself, we must ensure that we include most of the information that shall be suitable and that shall engage the attention of the members, the Toastmasters, and outsiders who are looking forward to getting into a club. So it is our responsibility to take care of that. Thirdly, who? Again, when we make Toastmaster of the Day flyers, speaker flyers, general evaluator flyers, it is always important to have a picture of that particular member. Now, sometimes cases do arise where we aren't having any suitable picture or image to mention in the flyer. In that case, what you can do is you can always go to the portal toastmasters.org and use the stock images. Toastmasters freely provide you a set of 100 and 150 images which can surely incorporate with any kind of events you have. And those pictures, trust me guys, if you go and check the portal, it is mentioned in the brand guidelines as well. Those pictures are really good and are really sharp. You can always make use of those pictures to the best of the abilities. And fourthly, the last one, whom to contact. Now this is very important to mention in all of the flyers that we make. We must ensure that we have a set of names and numbers of the persons whom can be contacted when any member from outside of our club or any guest who is looking to our flyer and looking to get engaged and looking to get some more additional information regarding the meeting or regarding the event. So these four are mainly the four elements or the objectives rather that we must ensure to mention in all of our designs. Moving on. Again, asking you a question. What kind of technique or what kind of strategy do you have when you design your flyer? You can type it in the chat box. What kind of strategy or you follow? Do you have a strategy or not? Or you just go on to Canva or any editing apps and start designing? Come on, you can type it. Not getting any response so far. I'll repeat my question. What kind of strategy do you have when you start designing your flyers? Oh, looks like people want to learn here and not make use of the chat box. Okay, anyways, I'll share my technique which I follow, which I used to follow rather when I was very new in the designing platform and when I was very new and was an associate of PR. Okay, I'm getting few responses based on the theme, starting with structure. All right, following guidelines and convey the message. Perfect. Check if it is part of series or individual flyer. Okay, is there any Canva template available? Well, I guess that shall be answered by our division PR. I'm not sure about that. Starting with colors, suit the theme. Okay, lovely. I'm glad to know your particular strategy. So my strategy, what I do is follow a roadmap technique. So what it is all about? Let me change my slide. Okay, so how to roadmap? What I initially used to do when I was an associate of public relations is that I used to recollect what all that I needed to mention in a flyer. For example, if it is a TMOD or the Toastmasters of the Day flyer, it is important to recollect what all information you need to mention. Firstly, the photo of the Toastmaster of the Day. Secondly, of course, the elements, 4 elements that I just mentioned. Thirdly, if there are any additional details the TMOD wants to mention. And fourthly, of course, the most important one is the theme, what Toastmaster of the day wants to conduct. So you recollect what you all need to do. Secondly, you try to sketch a rough design. Now, it might sound a bit tough and it might sound a bit boring to all of us, but trust me, initially in your journey as a vice president public relations, or be it, or in any field, when you try and sketch a diagram or a rough sketch, when you make that, be it in a paper or be it in Canva itself or be it in your mind, surely 99% of time you'll get the result what you were looking for when you start designing. So if it is a TMOD flyer, you can of course sketch a rough diagram, couple of diagrams where to place the photo of the speaker, where to mention the theme, what kind of colors you can use, and what kind of fonts you can use to make it more attractive. And of course the contact the number of the person who can be contacted to ask for additional information. So this has to be a technique which can be followed to have a nice bit of flyer. Thirdly, again, you'll have to recheck if all the objectives, the 4 elements that I previously mentioned, are met or not, or those objectives what you want to convey to your target audience are met or not. And fourthly, once after you finish designing a rough sketch, you can of course discuss it with your team, your public relations team, or rather with your executive committee teams. If you are comfortable in doing that, or if you want to do that, you can of course do that. Check it with them and get suggestions. There can be changes, there can be additional tweaks you can add on to your flyers. That comes after that. So this is the roadmap technique which I suggest you all can follow, which can enhance your flyer and make it more creative, make it more pronounced, and make it more fruitful for your club as well. So this is the kind of technique I follow. Before I end, I would like to share some of my flyers which I made for my club, or some of the flyers of my club itself, and some of the District 41 flyers that I got an opportunity to make. And I'll share what kind of strategy I had when I designed those flyers. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes, Sahil, it is visible.
All right, I guess in phones, this particular flyer might be looking very small. You can of course pinch in or zoom in the flyer to get all the details. So this particular flyer was in accordance with the previous brand guidelines that we had. So of course the use of gradient is not properly used here. Now regarding the gradient, I want to add on to what Toastmaster Anirban said. Toastmaster International has a PDF wherein they have mentioned a specific color code to the extent where you can decrease the brightness, or rather increase the brightness of a color. For example, if it is a blue which hexadecimal code is 004165, you can extend, or you can rather increase or decrease the transparency to the extent of hexadecimal code. You can note it down if you want to, or rather at the end of my presentation, I'll type it in the chat box. You can extend it to the hexadecimal code of 016904. So that is the code till where you can extend the brightness of this particular code. So while designing this flyer, my intention was to mention all the speakers in one particular list, and of course mention their levels and the name of the evaluator as well. So these 4 things are properly highlighted here. And of course, as a general evaluator is specifically mentioned in a special corner, we can of course do that. The club name is properly highlighted, and of course the go-to person RSVP is mentioned here. why, where, when, everything are highlighted here. And to add a bit of tweak or to promote your particular club, you can of course mention your different social media handles in your flyer. That becomes very fruitful, and outsiders, maybe from different country or maybe from different nation, can of course get in touch with you through these social media handles. If they don't have the access of calling you or getting in touch with you via WhatsApp or any other social medias, they can of course get in touch with you through the social media handle. So this was the strategy that I had while I designed this particular flyer. Secondly, the contest. In our club, we had this contest, a debate contest, the second season, Notion Negotiation. Now, this was a teaser flyer, the first flyer rather. So here, my main objective was to properly highlight a debate contest. Had I not designed a podium or a mic rather, it wouldn't have looked like a debate. It would have looked like a normal flyer, and people wouldn't have downloaded it in the WhatsApp. They would have just seen it, or rather they would have just let it go. So because of this particular mic and the podium, which are of course in adherence with the brand manual, mic is one of the most important elements of public speaking, and along with the podium. So these two elements, these two things, or these two illustrations are one of the elements of public speaking, and hence this comply with the brand guidelines. The topic, or rather the contest name, is specifically mentioned here: Notion Negotiation, the season 2, where, when, everything has been taken into consideration, and of course the logo has been properly placed as per the guideline. So this was the strategy, and the use of gradient again, maroon color 772432, and along with a lighter variant of maroon color in the middle, or rather in the background of this mic. You can see, so this comply with the brand guidelines. Thirdly, this was a flyer designed. This was the flyer designed by PR team member of our club, Elite Toastmaster Club, who is Toastmaster Ayush Modi. So in fact, even here, things are properly mentioned. The name of the general evaluator, a photo, and what achievements she has. Now, she was a special general evaluator to all of us. We had specifically invited her. She holds different trophies, and she holds different positions. Everything has been mentioned, and her qualities has also been mentioned. So this, her positions and her qualities, definitely grab the attention of our target audience, and they shall and it helps us and it helps the audience to rather join the meeting. So this was the idea while designing the flyer, and of course the guidelines have properly been met here. The logo is properly placed, the colors have been used properly, and of course an additional thing which has been done in this flyer is the shadows, or rather the glow outside this particular template. The glow has been used, and you can of course do that in Canva itself. Fourthly, a District 41 flyer that I had designed. Now, of course, this is in adherence with the previous brand manual because of the use of gradient here, which has been used in mix of blue color. Now, this is not allowed, but previously it was in question. So, in fact, even here, my strategy was to create a brochure. Now, distributing a printed brochure is not possible. So, I had an idea of designing a print brochure, rather a web brochure, where everyone can get a feel of a brochure itself, and the design was specifically kept into mind, keeping the strategy, looking at the strategy. So here everything has been mentioned perfectly. The name of the event, which was a pronouncer, which was conducted after the election of the EC committee of every club. This was the name of the contest. It has been specifically mentioned in a different box. Call to action has been given here. It's time to show your skills, and the details of how one can participate and where to send the flyers. Everything has been kept in mind, and the go-to person, since in this particular flyer it is not possible to mention the name of the person whom to contact, so credit has been given here. So it is in accordance with the brand manual. And lastly, this is the flyer which was designed by me, and Fortunately, now it happens to be District 41 homepage cover. So here the idea was to represent District 41. Now it is not possible to have a photo of all the members of District 41. We have 256 clubs in 3 countries altogether. So the idea here was to represent 41 members. Now how did we get 41 members? 17 division directors, 11 team leaders, 4 district champions that we had, and 9 PR team members of District 41. We have photos of all those 41 members. Now the creative thing here is the leaders rather have been mentioned in the shape of 4 and 1. Now 4 is being led by our current district director, who is DTM Nimesh Joseph, and 1 is being led by our immediate past district director Jennifer Ghosh, TTM. So this was the strategy. They have been represented, and the additional thing here is District 41 is represented in 41 different qualities. So the qualities here below the photos or below this circle thing is the 41 different qualities that are surely represented by District 41. And here this shape of mic is in here it contains all the names of 256 clubs that we had. So this was the strategy to represent District 41 in a different manner, and the tagline that we now have, together towards tomorrow, is being mentioned, and of course together with 41 unique qualities. So this was the strategy that was followed in designing this flyer. And once you follow this roadmap technique or the strategy making technique, you of course can add a lot of tweaks into your flyers. You of course you can change your strategy. Rather, if you have decided to use blue color in your initial strategy, in your initial roadmap, you can of course change it, but the main idea is to have a roadmap. Now once you start using this particular technique, it is not mandatory to always follow it. You can of course start it in via having a roadmap in a paper, and slowly and gradually, once you get a hang of it, it will definitely come into your mind. And later on, after a couple of months, or rather within a month itself, after you get a hang of this particular technique, a roadmap will definitely set into your mind. And whenever you get any task, within fraction of seconds, you will have your roadmap ready and you can quickly design your flyer. So initially it will definitely take few hours, not more than an hour, but rather after you get a hang of it, you slowly and gradually will be able to convert this task of 1 hour into mere 10 minutes task. So it is all up to you. It is all up to our mind rather to be creative, to be most creative as possible, and to represent our club in a better way, and to present, or to rather design, a flyer in a better way. So this was all from my side. If you have any question, it will surely be answered later on. I'm not sure if I have that time right now. So I end my session here. Over to you, Master of Ceremonies. Thank you.
Can we have a virtual applause first, please? For both of us. This Sahil Sanghai and for Toastmaster Anirban, please. And I want everyone to switch on their videos. It doesn't feel like everyone is paying attention. Can you all please switch on your videos and have effort to switch on your videos, please? And if you don't, it will understand. We will take to the understand that you are not liking the session. So please switch on your videos, everyone. Okay, that was such a great informative session, and we also came to know the examples that Sahil posted of how exactly this whole thing is done, especially the District 41 page. That was so awesome. I saw that for the first time, to be honest, and I really loved it. So let's move on to the next session without wasting any time. The next session is known as the Words. The session is organized by those who have the ability to play with words. I would rather say this session is conducted by those two people. The name is Toastmaster Sumit Kumar and Toastmaster Mohit Balla. Toastmaster Sumit Kumar is from Kolkata Toastmasters Club. He's an excellent content writer for his club. He's also the content editor of the Division K. He has been a constant part of the Calcutta Toastmasters PR team, a person who loves to be specific and to the point. And there is Toastmaster Mohit Balla, whom I know personally. Is currently the VP head membership of the Elite Toastmasters Club. We also consider him as the Shakespeare of our club because he is the one ready to apply each and every caption for our club. May it be an agenda, a flyer or anything else. So without wasting any time, I would like to have Toastmaster Sumit and Toastmaster Mohit upon the virtual stage, please. Thank you so much.
So good afternoon, everyone. So I would ask Toastmaster Mohit to kindly share the PPT. Toastmaster Mohit.
Yes. Just one minute. Is anything visible? My desktop?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, your desktop.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's start this. So why we write? Okay. So the first question that comes into mind, we can share the flyers directly, but why do we have to write content along with it? Because if you only share the flyer, your message will not be clear. That's the point. So along with the flyer, content is very important because the way you present your message is going to impact how audience react to it. If your message will not be clear, your audience may not attend your event or may not turn out as the way you expected them to be. Can we move to the next slide? Can we move to the next slide? Toastmaster mode. Hello. Okay. So now we know why to write. Let's know how to write. So before writing anything in a for a Toastmasters PR, you should know the structure. A structure for means that suppose you are writing for some event, you know how to you should know that how should you go about it. You cannot have a long test of 50 words or of 75 words at the opening and expect the audience to read the whole passage and at last you will give the information of what is actually about. Then it won't work out. Audience will simply ignore that and your message will not be going to be delivered. The second point is when you talk about writing content, it's all about creativity. English is not a big factor. You should know the basic grammar and basic knowledge of how to write sentences. Apart from that, you should just know how to be creative, how to motivate audience to read the whole passage you have written for a particular flyer or for a particular event. So how do you start about it? So you should always focus that you should start with something catchy. So that suppose you may start with a question, you may start with a quote. So that way you will create the first impression very good in the eyes of the audience. And so start with a bang and end on a good note. So always give a reminding note at the end. Your body should be in the middle, and at the end you should be telling the audience that you should be there and to attend this, and don't miss this because it will be very important event for you or for any other member of your club. So that way you can design your content from from a beginner's point of view. And number two, don't make it too clumsy. You don't have to use too much of jargons or you don't have to make a passage of 100 words. You should make it concise and you should be clear about your message, what you are telling. If you are asking the audience to join a particular meeting, you should make sure that you mention what are the meetings like agenda. Basically, if you are writing for the agenda, or if you are writing for the speakers, you should make sure that whatever speakers will be delivering, you should have some context from it in your passage. That way it will give the audience to know that what are the speakers going to talk about, or what is the Toastmasters themes and what is the agenda of your meeting. Now I will show you some of my examples of how I written, and it will written but different types of content for different themes. And starting with the Toastmaster of Day. So whenever I write about Toastmaster of Day, what is common is that I get to know about their theme. I first ask them what is their theme, and they tell me about something or whatever they are, and then I ask about their context, like by the theme what they actually meant, what they are trying to convey. So how do I start about this? So this is if you read this, and if you will find that this was a writer for the Toastmaster Day of my club's 12th starting ceremony, the Altair. So I have to introduce the Toastmaster of the Day, which were DTM Siddharth Churiwal and Toastmaster Vishal Churiwal. So I have to introduce a duo for the Toastmaster of the Day. So how should I went about it? So I started with a quote, because because if I have just started with the passage, it won't make an impact, and maybe the audience won't read it. So I started with a quote, and then I came to my body. So as you can read, I have written, so for some lit and extraordinary celebrations at Altair. So since Altair was our 12th chartering ceremony, we have to show that we will be having celebrations and we will be having funs. Since this was the first post for first official post for the Altair, as we were announcing our Toastmaster Day, I have to make sure that audience get to know what will be going to happen. So that was my first message of the line, that we will be having a lot of celebration at the Altair. Okay, so for that celebrations, we will be having some extraordinary duo. So that was my second message, and that is why I have written, we needed an extraordinary duo because we know two is always better than one. So now from this line, I have given a reason why we are having why are we having two Toastmaster of the Day instead of one. Toastmaster Mohit, can you please? Okay, thank you. Can you move back to the slide of Toastmaster of the Day? Okay, thank you. So from this, I am giving the reason why we have two Toastmasters of a day for the Altair. So because since it's a big event, and I cannot just write it because this is our 12th starting ceremony, and so we are having two Toastmasters of the day. So I give an explanation with the help of a better saying. It's a saying that it is always two is always better than one. So that is why I have written. Now I have asked a question. When you ask a question, people generally tend to see that, because they see that whenever you are being thrown a question, the human mind tends to find their answers. We always look in our memory, or we always look at Google to find those answers. So I have asked the question to present as the Toastmasters of the Day, and that's why that's how I asked what can be a better duo than two Debonair's brothers. And then I introduced the Toastmaster Day, and at the end you can see I have written, so join us on 27th June 6 p.m. for a memorable Sunday evening. So that was my ending on a good note thing. Like I convinced the audience to please come, make sure you join us on 27th June to have a memorable Sunday evening, because this event is going to be a memorable one. So that is how you can apply this sort of thinking whenever you are writing for the Toastmaster of the Day for your club. So now can we move to the next slide? So coming to the speakers. So this is very tricky part, because speakers since you have to introduce the speakers and they may have a different speech titles. So how do you go about it? So when I was asked, this was the write-up for my side for the speakers who will be going to speak on the Friendship Day. So how did I go about it? Since you can say whenever there are two ways to approach the content writing for the speakers. One is when you know about the title of their speeches, you find the links. Like suppose there may be common leader, or leader, or some other kind of words which you may think that from these words I can create some content and write about it. So that is that. But sometimes it also happens that speakers' titles are maybe totally different. So you should adapt to these changes according to your requirement. So in this speaker's content, if you read, like I have since the Friendship Day, the meeting was on the Friendship Day, I make sure that let it be and the titles of the three speeches were totally unrelated. So I assume let's keep it simple, and let's make it around Friendship Day. So I started with they are friends, there is family, and then there is then there are friends that become family. So and that's Kolkata Toastmaster Club for us. So this is an individual line, and it will be showing, since I have represented in PPT, but in actual content, this is an individual line, and it is at the top of my write-up. And then after I get from this line, my main aim was to get the attraction, like get the attention of the audience. And when I have your when I have your attention, then I came to my message like, this Friday at Kolkata Toastmasters Club, we were celebrating the most beautiful relationship. This is the way of how I defined the friendship day theme of like my on that day. Then I introduced the speaker, like we are having these three speakers for this beautiful evening. And then after I mentioned their speeches and speech titles, and then I again entered on a good note to for a fan. So make sure to join us tomorrow for a fantabulous evening and be there even in the difficult times. So even in the difficult times, you make each smile, always ready to go at the extra mile. It is actually a you can say a rhyming code for which I have written, and in the slide it is not written. It is not looking as looking as a part of the paragraph, but in reality it was not. It was the last line of my content, and it was the individual paragraph, you can say, and it was in italics, because this is the line which giving the last essence of friendship day of friendships to my content. So that is a way, and that is where you can move up, go about the writing for the speakers. If you have the connecting words, you can write a passage on those connecting words. But if you don't, you have to make sure that you have a generalized write up, and somehow you manage to add the speaker's title and to it. Now let's move on to the next one. Toastmaster Mohit, can you please change the slide? Okay, so we are done with speakers. We are done with Toastmaster of the day. So when you have anything special, suppose you are having a 50th meeting or any get-together meet or any special meeting, and that is when you have to show your creativity. See, flyer designing is, I know you can have your creativity there, but in the flyers it will always have only one glance. But when you are writing a creative content for anything special, it will have the audience for like 5 to 10 seconds, so that they will read the whole passage. So when I was asked, so this is something I write for my Altair. I was asked to introduce, I was asked to introduce the games master for that event. So I was not supposed to reveal the names, but I have to make sure that audience go to our website and check that who will be going to the games master on the day, or whether they have to guess it. So I think I should go about it writing a rhyming poem. So if you read a lot, you will find there is a rhyming word at the end of it. Like if I read, Altair our 12th charge string will be extraordinary because we have something as our primary. So this is this way I have written each and every line, and make sure that I have pointed the qualities of both the games masters in my write-up, to make sure that the people after reading it can make a guess if they know them. I have written, we have a duo who will be the host of the games. This message is saying that we will having two games masters, and they are not the Churiwals, since the Churiwals are the a famous duo, you can say, in the Toastmasters fraternity, especially in Division K. So they are not them, but they are someone else. So if anyone know another duo, or like who will be who are in the Toastmasters, they may guess. And then I have pointed out another qualities of them, that been to the same college. And what is interesting in this is that I have written in this in a poetic way, and by using rhyming words at the end of each letter, and ended with my message that who will be our games masters, can you guess? So this is what audience have to say at the end of the passage. So this is how you can go creative about it. You can also have starting with a question, and then you can show also a conversation between the two people, and to generate the excitement for the content you have created for the event, or for anything special your club are organizing or your club is doing. So that way you can have the creative factor in the content for you for you what you are writing. So with this, I will like to ask Toastmaster Mohit to give more insights on how to improve the quality of the content. Toastmaster Mohit, all yours.
Thank you so much, Sumit. And well, let's see now that you know how do we write a content, let us see how to beautify it, how to make it good, right? So here I'm changing the slide. Um, First of all, try, this is all about hacks and tricks, my portion. So first is install Grammarly keyboard. Believe me guys, whenever we write a content, there is a lot of grammatical mistake, there is punctuation, there is, spelling errors. Believe me, this Grammarly keyboard is going to come to your rescue. Just download it from Play Store or Apple Store, wherever you get it, and then just type your content in it, and it will automatically show you the portions wherein you have done a mistake. There is a punctuation or there is a, say, spelling mistake. It will help you detect that, and automatically you can change at that moment. So it is really a savior, at least for all the content writers. Now let us see how to be the Brennan Martin. Now that we know how to write a basic content with proper structure and all, and include the important information, but it's always good to have some good word, have some idioms and all. So how do we make it? Well, this is a rough draft which, oh, wait a minute, someone is at me. Yeah. So this is a rough draft which I prepared. Now I would like to ask every one of you to help me with this particular thing. Instead of this word quarrel, what can I write? To make it more hi-fi content, basically, to make it, window dress the entire thing. So can any one of you help me with that? Like, what can we write instead of quarrel? Just Google it, quarrel synonyms or quarrel meaning, and there is a drop down list with synonyms and antonyms, everything is there. So just pick it from there, and just let me know what is that one word which you could write instead of quarrel. Anyone can unmute yourself and say. We have word masters like Vidvata and Ruchira in our audience, so I'm expecting anyone. Please, anyone?
Disagree.
Disagree. Yeah, a bit more hi-fi word if
Conflict.
possible. Conflict. Okay, let's just up our level. Anything more? Just you can Google it. Quarrel synonym. So that will help.
Squabble.
Squabble. Exactly right. Squabble. Okay. And then one more. Okay, chalo, let's squabble. So what I did, see. So when she get angry, he ignores, and when he gets cry, oh God, they squabble and bicker. This is a word which I used, and I just what I did is quarrel synonym, and I just got these two words and I used it simultaneously. So you can just see the effect which it has got. One way you are reading quarrel, and the other way you are reading squabble and bicker. Ain't it good, right? So next, see, one is calm and introvert. Introvert, basically people don't like referring themselves as introvert, and the second is outgoing and very friendly. So how can we change these two things? Can anyone of you say? Like, get me a good word for introvert and for a friendly. Just kind of just type introvert synonym in Google, and you will get a list of words. So you can pick any one, a good word from there, right? So in that way, I chose, instead of one word, I have written so much: calm, composed, austere, quirky, goofy, stoic. And the other, it's just friendly, which I got to know when I developed it initially. But now see what I have written: vivacious, ebullient, jocose, and burnt. I don't know half of the meaning, but still it's sounding good, right? One is calm, composed, austere, quirky, goofy, stoic. The other is vivacious, ebullient, jocose, beyond. No one is, you don't derive any meaning out of it, but it looks good, right? They both blend a perfect relationship, epitome of love and care. All this something you need to add by yourself as well. So here, and this way, and we end this with proper TMOD, Rajat and Panna. Well, over here you can see there, since it was in like a promotion of one particular event, one day it was an event, and we did like promotion for 2 weeks. So what we did, we made a quote, and we used to add it to each and every hour of content of ours. Like, memories take us back, dream take us forward. So after every content, this used to be exuberantia, memories take us back, dream take us forward. So this is kind of anaphora which we used in all of our content. So can I ask, what is the anaphora of division K? You guys use one thing, and it's in every post of yours, as far as I noticed.
Leaders to rise above the fray at your service, division K.
Exactly. Thank you for saving my pride. And the second is, so here's again a rough draft, and please let me know like how to make it good. So the participants are nervous and anxious, and as finale is real close, words of encouragement from seniors would be definitely help the participant to stay motivated. It was Kolkata Toastmasters Club versus Newtown in the finale of Debateathon, and it's all the best written over here. So now how can I change it and make it more hi-fi? Nervous and anxious. First, let's start with nervous and anxious. So what could it be? Just it's up to you. You can make it as hi-fi as you want. So just Google, and can anyone of you get the synonym? Just Google. Okay. So no worries. So and nervous and anxious, we have the participant. Now just see the transformation which I have got. The participants might be fretted and perturbed as we are inching close to culmination of mega scrimmage. So you could see here's the word just one finale and how I've transformed it to culmination of mega scrimmage. Doesn't it looks like something which has been very window dressed, or it's something which has been more exaggerated. So this is how we develop the content. Exaggeration is really essential because people do like to read Shakespeare, right? They don't like to study, but they do like to read Shakespeare. And then second is from the seniors, that would definitely help us stay motivated. So again, you need to, but soothing words from leaders, thirst of passion and intensity helps us to procure drive of excellence. The team sent unfeigned and cordial word of encouragement, won a chance, and again that same anaphora that we use for debateathon, the ultimate scrimmage. So in this way, this is how we develop the content. Just type a single word, just prepare it, rough draft as here it is, and then just kind of type that word, write synonym. You will get a number of quotes, a number of idioms, and which you could replace it over here. And believe me, just see how the entire thing comes out to be. And it really, it's good to see the eyes such good words, even though they don't make any, like if you see it as a whole, it doesn't make much meaning, using the same words and same synonyms and adjectives again and again. But this is how we beautify the content. And second, it is must be relatable, and we should try and use the current trends that we have in YouTube. Now, this is something which I saw in District 41 VP mem. Uh, this was one of the, I would say, the story mein kaun tha, Binod. All these are these things, if you want, though it's look unprofessional, these two particularly, but you could use, right? So this is a particular content, and the entire thing about food. You could see simplicity of Tarla Dalal, Kunal Kapoor. There are a number of dishes being mentored here. And at the end, we have got the TMOD, name of the TMOD. But you could see that these two has an effect, right? Someone will, get a round of chuckle, or, someone will laugh at looking at this. So this is what it is, content is something which is to tone down the entire thing. So you could use current trend like Rasori Mein Konda, which is very trendy, right? Binod, which was like emotion for people. So it's good, you could use. Now, how many of you have heard that song Playdate by Martin something Martin? There's a song, right? Playdate. So exactly. Thank you, Jitesh. So we have, so that line, now this was a TMO. I was once a TMOD, and the theme was breakup, unrequited love, all those. So how I wrote the caption. You don't share your story, toys, or communicate. Guess I'm just a playdate to you. So I basically took the line from that and just see the effect has. Have you ever have felt that, right? Witness Toastmaster Mohit address issues of all unrequited lover and bro zone brothers. So it's always good to pick up a good quote, a catchy quote, something trending, or songs. So it is really good. That is how we go about it. And the last thing, italicize and bold text. How we, it's always essential to make it glaring. Now, this particular, if you don't italicize and bold at required places, you would realize that this doesn't, like the main information should always be highlighted. So always ensure that the name of the clubs, date are something which should be highlighted. Suppose there's a dress code, so try and italicize it. So italicize and bolding, all this is very essential in order to make it glaring, right? So with this, that's from all my side. I hope these tricks are really something which you can use, and I'm hoping to looking forward to see you guys use this trick in the open forum, right? So that's it all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sumit and Toastmaster Mohit, for enlightening us with the tricks that you have in order to provide and create a great content. Can we have a huge amount of applause, please, for both of them? So now we know exactly how to write the content, how to beautify the content, right? The next session is going to be how to have an influensive word, how to use that influence so as to get the impact of the readers. Our next session is going to be about, and the name is Impact of the Word, which is going to be conducted by Toastmaster N.V. Harichandana, who is from IIM Calcutta Toastmasters Club. Currently, she is the VP head of the IIM Calcutta Toastmasters Club. She is an excellent flyer creator, at the same time an excellent content writer, and extremely dedicated and hardworking girl. Someone who never says no to anything. So can we have Toastmaster Chandana upon here so as to continue with the next session, Impact of the Word?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jitesh, for your kind words. It really touched me. Um, so, let me know whether you are able to see my screen.
Yes, it is visible. You can continue.
Thank you so much. Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Toastmaster Chanda from I'm Calcutta Toastmasters Club. So today I'm going to talk about some PR materials which are very standardized and officials, but yet underused. So they are minutes of the meeting, newsletters, and the articles. Firstly, the minutes of the meeting. So what is the minutes of the meeting? So what's the purpose? It's basically capturing all the things which you have discussed in a meeting and which helps us to refer back in future and helps us to improve. For example, today I have missed the meeting, but I want to see what happened in my club, what all things did they discuss, and I'm missing definitely the learnings, right? So that's when the minutes of the meeting helps. And I see many of the clubs, they put the posters of all the winners, right? But what I want to see the learnings. I have missed some content. That's what I want to see. That's where minutes of the meeting comes into picture. It also helps the guest, right? When a guest goes to our Facebook page or goes to our media handles and searches, when he sees the minutes of the meeting, he'll understand what a Toastmasters club is, what all things happen, what a TMOD is, what all the how do people give their speeches, and what is a table topic session, right? That's the importance of minutes of the meeting. And sometimes we also have special meetings, right? Like debates or knowledge sessions or special speakers, but not everybody are going to attend all the meetings. That's where the minutes of the meetings comes into picture. Do a minutes of the meeting and circulate among all. The people who have missed it will definitely appreciate your efforts, guys. So what all things can be included in a general minutes of the meeting? Just can you please post it in the chat box, like if your club is making a minutes of the meeting, or you want to make a minutes of the meeting, what all basic things you want to include in an MOM? Summary of the speeches, yes. Okay, so let's see what all things can be included. Firstly, the vision and the mission of the club, right? Because it gives the perspective what your club is doing. Then few words by Toastmaster of the day, and of course summaries of the speakers. That's the most important thing. And at the last, you can give two learning outcomes, like what all the two important things which you have learned in this meeting, because in every meeting you will learn something or the other. In every meeting a new point comes up, right? So that's when you can note that point and put that in the flyer. You can also definitely include the names of the winners because it's encouraging. And on that note, I would also like to tell people that include role players as well, because there are few role plays which many people are not interested in taking. But once you recognize them as well, that's when people try to take those roles also. You can also involve table topics, like all the who attempted the table topic and what's the table topic, or you can write few lines of the winners itself, like what did the winner speak. So that will be a good encouragement for others, or example for others to take upon. Next, you can also include the number of guests attending your meeting, or you can also include what's the feedback given by the guests, which would encourage other guests also to come. Word of the day, idiom of the day. And of course, special awards, like many clubs have listener of the day, listener band, then joke master of the day, king of articulations, and all these awards which do not have certifications or recognitions. So that's where in the MOM you can also include the awards for these type of things. Next, a few tips. Maybe at the last you can include a tip which everybody can follow for the future meeting. And of course the media handles, put all the Facebook pages, Insta pages which you have, so like the links, so that people will go through and will try to follow your club. And most importantly, put the MOMs not only on the WhatsApps, try to share in the Division K Facebook group and District 41 Facebook group, so that other people will know what that your club is really active, and they will also come and attend your meetings, guys. So next is the newsletter. So it's a bulletin issued periodically to all the members of the Toastmasters. It is one of the most official and standard form of communication, and people will know what all things has happened in the overall month. This newsletter can be bi-weekly, it can be bi-monthly, and it can also be monthly. So whom can you send these newsletters? Firstly, the members of your club. Try to mail all the members of your club your newsletter, so that when you send in WhatsApp, people don't know and it goes away, right? So if you mail them, people will know that this is something official. So try to mail your newsletters to all the members, and also your club alumni. Like mainly for the institutional clubs, the alumni of your club continuously changes, right? So to maintain a connect, you can send this newsletter every month to your alumni and the clubs affiliated with you. Like for example, Elite and I am Calcutta Toastmasters Club had a joint meeting, so after that we had some sort of connection. So you can send your newsletters to their official mail IDs as well. It will be an example for other clubs also to do the newsletters. And all the guests, like the potential guests you have, the potential target group, if you are an institutional club, you can send it to all the students of your institution as well, all the leaders of your division, district, and of course the media handles, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all. So to end with, you can also send this newsletter to the District 41 newsletter team, where every month a newsletter of the month is selected. And we also had Elite Toastmasters Club ka newsletter, which got selected for 1 month as the best newsletter and newsletter of the month. So I would encourage all the other clubs as well to start writing the newsletters and try to publicize them. It will be the most official thing. So things that can be included in a newsletter, first and foremost thing, words from the editor's desk. It generally gives the perspective, or it sets the stage, like what all things can be, what all things you can anticipate in the newsletter, like the contents of the newsletter and all. So it's important to initially set your pace. Then you can include 1 or 2 fantastic speeches, like throughout the month. You can vote among yourselves, like whose is the best speech, and you can put it on the newsletter, because when someone else sees that speech, he will also get encouraged, right, to include those things. So try to include them. Next, articles from members. You can release a competition. Not only it has to be internally from your club, you can ask people from all the other clubs also to write an article for your newsletter, and you can pick 1 or 2 newsletters and publicize them in your newsletter. So it will be a great interaction, not only among your club but also among other clubs as well, right? Next, learning items or knowledge nuggets. You can give some tips to the people, like how you can improve them and all. You also see kudos which was coming from one of the area, so try to include these type of tips also in the newsletter. Next, recognition, and this is the most important thing, right? So whenever someone clears the path, or someone has achieved distinguished Toastmaster title, try to include them. Okay, even if you have achieved the educational goal, include them in your newsletter, so that people will know, yeah, these things are happening. And if you are not having the MOM, then write a quick summary of all the meetings you had in that month. And next, if you have the new members coming to your club, then ask them why did they join Toastmasters, what all things they are planning. You can just have a small summary of them as well in the newsletter. Lastly, you can have words from any of the EC member, maybe from the president of the club or the VP education of the club or VP membership, so that people will understand what all the thoughts are, what's the vision and mission of the club is. So coming to the other side, you can also include the fun elements like small quizzes, word puzzles, crosswords, jokes, quotes, quirky quotes, and all. So when everything is going on in a flow, when these type of elements come, they generate some kind of enthusiasm among you to read further, right? So you can also give shout outs. For example, you have given a crossword and you have asked people to mail the answer, then you can give a shout out in your next newsletter saying that these people have won this and these people got a good joke or something, some titles, right? Recognition. Next, some of the campaigns like do you know, myths of Toastmasters, like we have many myths on Toastmasters. So use this newsletter to break those myths, right? So this is our chance. And encourage people by asking interviews and testimonials and report cards of our individual member and DCP status, right? So when people know that we have achieved these many goals, people get encouraged. Even every member of your club will get encouraged to do more goals to contribute their path as well. Lastly, members roundup, mostly birthdays of the members, or you can share some lockdown diaries or photographs of your members. Like recently in District 41 newsletter, we had that campaign for renewals where all the division leaders have posted with a thumbs up. So try to include all the members. So when you include all the members, that's when people get more enthusiasm and dedicated towards your club. You can also, if you are unable to do a newsletter for your own club, you can in the area, all the clubs of the area can club, and you can make a single area newsletter as well. And most importantly, give credits for each and everything, guys. Everything should be motivating to others as well. So when you give credits, that's when people try to participate more and try to contribute more. So that's about newsletter. Lastly, articles. So every month you can submit an article to District 41 where article of the month is chosen. So I would encourage not only you people but also others to submit your articles. Just before 2 hours, you can see Jennifer Ghosh ma'am has posted one of the article in our group. You saw, did anyone read that newsletter? Did anyone read that article? The small article which was written by Jennifer Ghosh ma'am. Yes. So you saw how much fantastically it was written. So that's where the impact of words is seen. So ask your members also to write articles and publish at least 3 articles of the month in your Facebook page and media handles, so that people also improve not only on speaking skills but also on the writing skills. And you can also give them feedback of further articles. For like if a member has submitted article, try to show it to a senior member of your club and give them feedback, so that they will also be encouraged to submit more articles. You can have article competitions like Story 5 It, Tell Me a Story. You can have all the bibliophiles together and write some articles. You can write article for humans of District 41. So there is so much scope for the articles as well. So overall, don't so the MOMs, articles and newsletters give a different perspective and a standardized and official feeling of the club. So I encourage all the people to take up these as well and start doing newsletters, articles and MOMs for your club. So that's from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Jitesh.
And we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Chandana for motivating us to write the articles and also being active even after you are done with the meetings. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? Can everyone unmute themselves and have a huge round of applause? So it has been an thrilling session so far, right? From starting with the very basics, we started to understand the creativity which we can upon designs, the art of the words, the different tricks we can use, the impact and the influence of being active officially as a club. So what else? What next? Next, we should start wide, expand further, and never look back. So for this next session, which is the last session for today, we are going to have someone who is the youngest president. I already introduced him before, and he's also the division KPI manager. But what we do not know about him is that he's always there to back you up for any misconceptions or any kind of mistakes that you make. He's always there to help you. He's the most creative person that I know, and has been the part of the PR elite team from past 2 years. So let's call upon next the one and only president of the Elite Toastmasters Club and also the division KPI manager to conduct the next workshop, expand it further by Toastmaster Akash Bhajanka. Can we have you here?
Thank you, Jitesh, for that wonderful introduction. Am I audible? So I'll just
Yes, Akash,
share
super
my
audible.
screen. Right, just a minute. Share. Is it visible? Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, Akash, it is visible. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Once again, today's session is on basically scope of PR. So what do you understand by scope of PR? Can anyone unmute yourself and say anything that comes to your mind? Anything. What do you understand by scope of PR?
Letting more and more people know about us.
Anyone else? Okay, so basically, what scope of PR is, what you are doing right now, and what else can you do as a VP PR and as a PR member. The main thing that's related to PR is to grab the attention of the audience and to create a value in the organization, within the organization and outside the organization. So basically, you have to target your members and also the guest. So moving forward, so, there are two types of scopes, according to me, before the meeting and after the meeting. So let's start with before the meeting. What can you do as a PR before the meeting? Creating the buzz. The most important thing before the meeting is to create the buzz. Let people know about the meeting and create an excitement in and around the meeting that yes, something special is going to happen in this meeting. A misconception that everyone has right now is that PR is all about flyers. But believe me, ladies and gentlemen, PR is a lot more than that. We have videos. Right now, we have videos, we have GIFs, any other things that can be used to promote a meeting. So it's not only about flyers. I'm not saying that you cannot go with a campaign just with flyers, but you'll have to be proactive, be creative with the thing, and plan your campaign accordingly. Suppose I'm having 100 meeting of a club, and right now, so I'll start the promotion 15 to 20 days before, and I may post a teaser video first of all, and then secondly, I may go with some flyers highlighting the main part of the event and also highlighting about the role players who are going to come in to the event. So it can be mix of everything. Now I'm going to show you some of the examples, and this will help you understand why it's important to connect. First is the example that of a flyer that has been created by Elite Toastmasters Club and I am Toastmasters Club. It was a joint meeting, and can anyone tell me what do you think about this flyer? It's a great idea, right? It's a great idea on any day. It's about the Instagram bingo that's very popular. So, but unfortunately, this flyer was not able to grasp the attendance of the audience. Actually, what happened was that this flyer was arranged for 15th of August meeting. That's Independence Day. So can you look at this flyer and understand that this meeting is for the Independence Day? From an audience perspective, what I expect in a flyer is that there must be a background tricolor, right? So that people could get attached to it and find it, right? It's the meeting is going to happen on 15th of August. So basically the theme of the meeting is Independence Day. So the main thing that was lacking here was the connect. People was not able to connect that this flyer is for the Independence Day meeting. And now, secondly, moving on to a Division K flyer, that's very very traditional flyer, kind of a traditional flyer that having the trainers info. But what was innovative in this is that a K, Q, and I, the king of your Toastmasters journey, queen of your Toastmasters journey, and idol of your Toastmasters journey. So what was very innovative here, that the names, it might have not got many responses, but the names there, Satyadeep Basu, Jennifer Bose TTM, Abdul Rahim DTM. When I won't you want your name there if you are getting to know that someone admires you? How do you feel? So that's the main thing, and that's why this flyer served the purpose. Now moving on to before the meeting flyers, I'm not going into the content of the flyer. I'll just go through what can you post before the meeting. So the first thing is TMOD flyer. It's one of the most important flyers and has been a part of the PR campaign of many clubs since long. So this is one of the most important flyer conveying the theme and giving the main message about the meeting. Another example, this is made by Elite Toastmasters Club. Although this gradient is not allowed anymore, but this is an example of a perfect TMOD flyer. The information is totally given here and it serves the purpose. Next is the speaker's flyer. I won't go into the content, but can anyone unmute yourself and say what's the purpose of this flyer? Don't say कि यार level highlight करना है या वैसा कुछ. Just say what's the purpose. I know that this flyer won't get many responses. या people just ऐसा नहीं लिखेंगे यार excellent flyer. Just they'll say congratulations. या वैसा कुछ वो सब कुछ नहीं होने वाला. It won't get a hit. But the thing is, what's the main purpose of this flyer? Can anyone unmute yourself and let me know?
The one who is speaker, this flyer is really special for him or her. Like
exactly. That's my point. So this flyer, the basic purpose of this flyer is not to grab the attention of the audience, but to motivate the speaker. If I'm the speaker, I want my name there. I would want that someone is publishing a flyer stating that I'm the speaker. So that motivates me, encourages me that I would take the stage again and again. And I could also share this to my friends and everyone on my social media handles. So this is the purpose of this flyer. The main purpose is to motivate the person. The next is a mix of both the flyers. When you're having a special marathon or you're having a lot of speakers, you can go with this kind of flyer where you can create one flyer and give the details about speakers, TMOD, role players, etc. This is another example of this. Sahil has already shared this with you. And another flyer that can be done before the meeting is that word of the week. So you'll have to connect with the VPE team for this, but it's a very important flyer nowadays and many clubs have started doing this. This is because if you introduce the word of the week way before the meeting, then people can actually incorporate it in their speeches. So this is the purpose of this flyer. This can also be done before the meeting. And now this is another flyer that I don't have an example right now, but it's more about when you are having a special guest. Suppose Naveen Mishra को बुला रहे हो यार, तो promotion तो करना जरूरी है ना. I have to say कि right, Naveen Mishra is coming as a general evaluator. So वैसा एक flyer welcoming the guest, special guest जो लोग आ रहे हैं, so उनको welcome करना is really important. So those are the scope that you can do with flyers and before the meeting. So now moving on to the after the meeting part, what you can do. The first thing is thank you flyer. अब स्पेशल गेस्ट को बुला लिए बट उनको अगर फिर थैंक यू नहीं बोलोगे तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. So what's the purpose of this flyer? Can anyone unmute yourself and say what's the purpose of this flyer?
So that if in case in next time we don't have a general evaluator, if he or she is appreciated, he will definitely come and take as a backup.
That was really a great reply, Mohit. I can understand your mind frame, but anyways, the main purpose is, yes, you're true, but the main purpose is to motivate the person, to show respect to them, and to also let people know that this person came to our meeting and attended the meeting. So the next flyer that we can post after the meeting is the ribbon winner flyer. This is not a very old concept, but it was started by a club of Division K in Division K very recently. It was started 6 months ago, and from then it has been followed regularly by other clubs as well. So the main purpose of this flyer, I know that achieving club level, achieving something at club level doesn't mean a big achievement, but for the people who have achieved those, it means a lot. If I am winning the best speaker award, I want my name there. So that's the purpose of this flyer, is to motivate the people. Let others know that this person has won this award. So the basic purpose is to motivate the speakers and not to grasp the audience. Starting में सब बोलेंगे congratulations, congratulations, but तीन चार flyer होने के बाद no one will respond. But still, the purpose is to serve the speaker and motivate them. There's another example of this kind of a flyer. Now, what else can be done for the members? So these are the aspects before and after the meeting. So what else can you do? You can recognize their achievements. The main thing is recognizing their achievements. You have to be very proactive here. You have to connect with the VPE team and the president regularly. And it's not that the president and VPE has to always push you that he or she has completed a level, so post a flyer. You have to be proactive. As soon as you get the response, that as soon as you get the information that a person has achieved something, maybe a level completion or any other feat at district or division level, you can post a flyer that will always motivate the person. So these are the flyers which can motivate your members. Another example, and another example of Toastmaster Rajat Ray winning the humorous speech contest. So basically, you have to be proactive. You have to be proactive. कि क्या हो रहा है? आज this person has won this, so I'll have to post a flyer. Every time you don't need the VP or president to push you. So you have to be proactive in this. Now, moving on, this is the EC committee flyer. Knowing your members better. So what can be done in knowing your members better? What can you do? So the first thing that you can do is when a new member joins the club, you can always induct them with a flyer. This not only helps in induction, but also this flyer gets responses and this helps in warmly welcoming the new member. And people also know that the club has inducted a member, specifically in the pandemic time. If you are inducting a member, it's a big achievement. So it also inducts the members, gives them the confidence. So what else can you do with this flyer? You can always be innovative. You can mention some of the hobbies of the member or any other aspirations that he or she has in their life. So you can do anything of that sort. Be innovative with it, or you can just keep it simple. So basic purpose is to induct a member and to make him or her familiar with the family. Next is a happy birthday Ola flyer. So I know this is the particular flyer that grabs the attention of the audience very much. Everyone, almost everyone, replies to this flyer that happy birthday Ishika, happy birthday Sahil, or anything. But this is a very important flyer. You can always be innovative with this as well. You can mention the hobbies and other points about the speaker or the members. So these are the things that you can do in the club level. So अब इतना सब कुछ हो गया है, like you have thought of posting this. So how can you stay consistent? What can you do to be consistent? So create a rough weekly calendar. The first thing is create a weekly calendar. I'm not saying monthly calendar banao, एक weekly calendar बना लो. Suppose Elite Toastmasters Club has meetings on Saturday. So I'll start the weekly promotion from Monday. So for Monday, I'll promote the word of the week. Then on Wednesday, I'll post the TMOD flyer and followed by the speaker flyer. And I'll keep a buffer day or two for the other flyers like achievements that might pop around. So you have to create a rough weekly schedule so that you're consistent. You don't miss anything. So in a way you can do that. And for this, again, you have to coordinate well with the VPE and the president of the club. And sometimes it happens that the VPE team hasn't given you the information yet, so it might get late, but overall you can try to stick with the calendar. And in this way, you can ensure your consistency. Now, the next thing is building a presence on the internet. Now, this is something innovative. This is something new for all the VPPRs. So how many of you are on Google Maps, have listed your clubs on Google Maps? Can anyone reply? How many of you have listed your clubs on Google Maps? Okay, So I think that none of you have listed your clubs on Google Maps, but it's very important because this is one of the most important factors that guests can come in to your club. Google can target the location, can target the audience according to the location that 15 miles के इर्द गिर्द मुझे दिखाना है. So Google का उस हिसाब से होता है, right? So you can do, you have to list your club on Google Maps because as a new member or as a guest, I might not be knowing कि यार कितना club है, what is Toastmaster actually. So I'll just search Toastmasters International, and the first thing that comes is your location. So list your club, give proper contact address so that people can directly call from the Google browser itself. Upload images of the club meetings and also try to get reviews from the guest. And if you get the reviews, Google automatically boosts your uh, ranking and shows your club on top. Next are social media handles. So how many of you have at least 3 social media handles, personal handles? You can unmute yourself. Okay, Jitesh. Okay. So the same needs to be done with the club. You must have your presence on at least 2 or 3 handles so that people can come into your meetings. The first one is WhatsApp. So what's important in a WhatsApp, right? The first thing is join relevant groups. I know that almost every club is following this, but it's very important to join the relevant groups, District 41 group, Open Forum group, Division K group, and there are other groups. So through which you can spread the information and get the people to come into your meetings. The next is time your post very well. Give a post at least some time so that people can at least get to view the post for 2 or 3 minutes, at least 50, so that everyone can view it for 2 to 3 minutes. Don't post immediately one after another. That might just be a wastage of time. People won't be able to see the flyers; they'll just miss it. So you have to time your post very well. And WhatsApp is one of the most important platform right now. Moving on to Facebook, again, posts are very important. Post regularly. ऐसा नहीं कि 1 महीने पहले पोस्ट किया एंड देन 1 महीना तक कोई पोस्ट नहीं किया. सो पोस्ट रेगुलरली. Weekly you can post 2 or 3 flyers at least. Not important to post daily, but at least try to post 2 or 3 flyers weekly. And again, join relevant groups. So joining relevant groups, we have District 41 groups, District Division K group. So you can join both of them, and it will help you to inform people about your meeting. And people from different clubs and of the same division or the district can come and join our meetings. The next is hashtags. So what do you understand by hashtag? Hashtag is that कुछ भी नहीं डालना है. Suppose Toastmaster है, so it doesn't mean कि we'll put something like that कि यार cricket डाल गया hashtag. That's not the thing. We'll have to think typically, बहुत smartly सोचना पड़ेगा कि यार what's the relevant hashtag? Hashtags are like keywords. Suppose think like a customer. If you are a customer, you are a new member searching for a club, improving your public speaking, for improving your public speaking skills. So what you will search on Google? So think about it. You'll search Toastmasters. If you know something about Toastmasters, you'll search public speaking club. You'll search how to improve your English and English speaking and other relevant hashtags. So hashtags needs to be put into your content so that Facebook will understand what's your content is all about. So it can show it, and because it modulates the content in that manner that it regulates the flow, it can show to the relevant personalities. And in a way, hashtags are very important for this, to know Facebook, at least to let know Facebook what is your flyer about or what is your post about. So next is Facebook ads. It's an optional thing that you can do. Nowadays, Division has started doing this for, you can do it for special events if your club budget permits you to do so. It's not that costly. It will cost around 1,000 to 1,500 bucks for a 15 to 20 days campaign. So it can be done occasionally. I'm not saying कि पूरा club का budget उड़ा दो, लेकिन still you can do it occasionally if your club budget permits. Next thing is Instagram. So Instagram में post regularly post करना important है. Inactive नहीं होना है. Don't be inactive. Same thing like Facebook. Next is stories. Stories are very, very, very undermined, and Instagram. See, if we see stories, people think that story का क्या करना है यार, Toastmaster वाले story क्यों देखेंगे? We just post and the things are done. But the thing is, stories, a fact, a recent fact states that stories have a better reach than post. So please post stories regularly. अपना ही post को share कर दो या do something else, but post stories regularly. That's a very important aspect of Instagram. And similarly, hashtags. I'll come to an example of hashtags that you can use in the later part. So here too, it's important to list hashtags and at least 15 hashtags in a single post. It might sound crazy. People might think, "यार पागल लगूंगा." Again, the thing is, hashtags are very important. 15 hashtags at least in Instagram. Next is YouTube. So as a PR, you can do is um, record meeting videos. I'm not saying to entirely record your meeting, but you can cut your meetings in specific parts, record the speeches, record table topics, record the evaluation, and then upload. So what's the purpose of this? Um, you can create a playlist there, table topics का different playlist बना लो, speech prepared speech का अलग playlist बना लो. So क्या benefit होता है? The first thing is it motivates the member. It gives them the chance to go to a YouTube channel and then see how they performed. Third thing is that it helps the people, new people, to get to know about the structure about of Toastmaster meeting. So if you're having a YouTube channel, if I'm not knowing about prepared speech or table topics, I'll go there. You share the link to them, and they'll go there and see one or two videos, and they'll understand the basic structure of Toastmasters. So nowadays, having a YouTube handle is very essential. Moving on to the title and description part. Always try to incorporate keywords here in the title and in the description. Toastmasters, public speaking, anything. When you're writing a content, incorporate keywords here. So it's very important. It's just like hashtags, but YouTube doesn't have a separate thing for hashtag. You just can add hashtags in the end of the descriptions, but it's important to enter keywords in the description and title so that at least YouTube can know the audience you're wanting to target, and YouTube can ultimately regulate it accordingly. Now moving on to some other handles you can create, LinkedIn and Twitter. These are some of the most important handles nowadays. People are following it, and it's not compulsory to go into these handles, but these are certain extensions that you can try out. But basically, you have to be on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and WhatsApp. Nowadays, everyone is on WhatsApp. So basically, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are very important. And with that, this is the last slide of my presentation. I'll just give some examples of the hashtags you can use. These are tried and tested hashtags that I've already tried, Google out. And these are the hashtags that you can use, most relevant ones that people might search, and these might brought the people to you, your club meetings. So the first one is public speaking, English speaking, Toastmasters club. Just think, ऐसे सोचोगे यार तुम लोग ही सोच रहे हो, right? If you're typing something in the Google, thinking about Toastmasters, what would you write? So it's public speaking, English speaking, Toastmasters club, Toastmasters Kolkata, improve English, etc., etc. Think about it as a consumer. Think that you don't know anything, you're searching for the first time in Google. That's the best way to get out hashtags, relevant hashtags. And sometimes you can play with the hashtags. You can always go with some trending events like Women's Day hai, kuch aur hai. So you can always insert those relevant hashtags. But these are the permanent hashtags that you can use everywhere. But in Insta, at least 15 are necessary. So thank you. That's all from my end. And more you can do as newsletter articles, as Chandna already stated. You can go and extend your scope there. You can always create a newsletter, uh, ask people for articles that will motivate the members, keep their interest, and also help them to grow. So that's all from my end. If you have any questions, you can raise directly, or you have a feedback form right now, you can fill that up. And the last thing that I would like to say, we have launched a PR package for all of you. I'll just show you on the screen. Just a minute. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes, Akash, it is visible.
Yeah. So this is a PR package that we have created for all of you. Um, Suppose logo chahiye, you have to get access to a logo, then you don't need to go to the Toastmaster website now and then. You have a direct link where you have examples of flyers. We have inserted logos here. Just a minute. Yes. So there are different kinds of logos that can be used and are permitted to be used by Toastmasters. We have also inserted pathways ka logo and the examples, some flyers you can learn from, some flyers against the guidelines, some flyers which follow the guidelines properly. So this is a complete package. You have the pathways logos here and other links as well. And there are some templates to use. If any one of you are finding it difficult to make a template, you can connect with us and we'll give you a template, a set template, editable link, and you can edit there and insert your club details. So this is a package we have created for all of you. For getting the access to these templates, you can connect with us, the Division KPR team. And for any other thing, you can always connect with us. We have 7 members, plus any other club VPPRs. You can always come up to your VPPRs as well for the help. And for templates, you can always connect with us. And if you have any queries, please shoot your questions right. We're at the end of the session. So do you have any questions? If not, then you can just fill up the form. Ayush, have you shared the form on the chat? Just a minute, I'll see.
Yes, Akash, the feedback form has been shared.
Great, then.
Akash, I have a question.
Yeah.
So we have talked about newsletters, right? So how
Right.
frequent is it recommended to publish a newsletter? I see some of the clubs publishing it for weekly and some monthly, etc.
See,
So
what's my take on that is that if you publish it weekly, then it's not necessary to publish it monthly. But the thing is that weekly MOMs are there, so the attention that it needs, uh, जो उसको attention चाहिए, that newsletter doesn't get. So MOM है ही weekly, so you can go with monthly thing. Hectic भी नहीं होगा and you can plan it accordingly. एक month पहले से promotion start कर दो. Ask for articles, you have to collect articles. So वो weekly possible नहीं होता. It's not possible to get the articles in 3 or 4 days. So people, you'll have to give people time. You have 3 to 4 days. Please put in your articles and submit it. Then you can edit it accordingly and then publish a newsletter. So a full-fledged newsletter ke liye will at least have to take a month's time. And right now, Elite Toastmasters Club has also started it, and they are taking a month's time and releasing it monthly. And I feel it's a big, big newsletter, 30, 40 pages, and it cannot be done consistently on a weekly basis. So I feel you can go for the monthly basis if you have the MOM already. So newsletter can be published monthly.
Sorry to interrupt you, Akash. To add on to that answer, I would also like to say is that District 41 has come up with best newsletter of the month, monthly newsletter of the month. So keeping that into consideration also, clubs can make a monthly newsletter. In that way, they can participate in District 41's event, and also they will have a better quality newsletter. Yeah, thank you.
So any other questions? I hope I
Akash, we have
answered
a
your
question on
right?
chat box.
Yeah, what's the question, Ayush? Can you read it out?
Ideal length of a newsletter?
I feel not more than 30 pages. It's enough for monthly newsletter, and weekly hoga to then it's not more than 3 to 4 pages. Weekly you won't get much of information to give. It's basically concerned with the particular meet. So meets में किसने क्या achieve किया. So if you're having the other flyers, I feel कि newsletter necessary नहीं है weekly. So you can just go with 20 to 30 pages, maximum 30 pages, because people won't read beyond that, and we have to be practical. So in a way, you can go with that, 20 to 30 pages.
Akash, we have one more question.
Yeah.
Can you please explain if the elements with colors apart from brand colors be used in the flyers?
Yeah, sure. Sahil, can you take this session? You have already created a template, right? So you can show them.
Yeah, sure. Let me read out the question once. Yeah, elements with colors apart from brand colors. So these basically can be counted as illustrations or clip arts. So now again, the elements which you use apart from the brand colors are strictly not allowed. Those also have to be within the colors palette available in the brand manual, and of course, those has to be specifically somewhere or the other related to public speaking or the environment of Toastmaster. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Sahil. Is there any other question, Ayush, or anyone else? Please unmute yourself and throw your question. We are there to take your question. And just again repeating, we have created the package for all of you. So if you want the access to it, you can connect with us, any member of the division KPR team.
Because we don't have any questions right now, so
Okay.
I think you can continue.
So here we'll end the session. Thank you so much everyone for joining. I hope that you will take something out of this workshop. And thank you so much to all the trainers as well who have done their best, given their level best to train everyone, and to the audience to come up for this session on a Sunday afternoon. So thank you so much, and we hope that we helped you in a manner. And please connect with us if you want any other help or you need the access to the package. So we'll end the meeting here. Thank you so much, everyone, once again. Guys, अब खाली हम लोग हैं. But the thing is, वो बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम ले लिया. I feel हम लोग
चिट चैट मारेगा क्या?
नहीं नहीं यार, चिट चैट का बात नहीं है, जस्ट फॉर्मल फीडबैक टाइप. ठीक है यार. बट एनीवे, साहिल, तू तो भाई बहुत, तेरा तेरा सेशन वाज गुड. अनिर्बन का बहुत क्लिप्स था, हमको उसका टाइमिंग बहुत सही लगा. बाकी सब ने तो टाइमिंग बहुत अच्छे से मैनेज किया. मेरा भी पूरा टाइम पे था. देखो तुम लोग ने जो टाइम मैनेज किया ना आज, गजब. मतलब मजा आ गया. सबको 15 मिनट दिया गया तो 30 मिनट सोच के चल लिया तुम लोग. वाह, मतलब दोनों मिला के कोई ना कोई तो किया ही.
बाकी सब ट्रेनिंग्स में वो एक्सपर्ट ट्रेनर्स लोग 10-20 मिनट ज्यादा खा सकते, तो हम लोग क्यों नहीं थे? हम लोग भी खाएंगे.
हाँ तो भाई 10-10 करके 5 कर दे इंटू, कितना हो गया? 50 मिनट एक्स्ट्रा हो गया. सो ऐसे तो ठीक है, वी आर ऑन टाइम. 1 घंटा लेट हो गया है, बट ठीक है.
हाँ, लेकिन आई गेस फ्रूटफुल था. आई गेस कुछ चेंजेस आ सकते हैं.
आई आल्सो थिंक मेरा ठीक था सेशन लास्ट वाला, स्कोप वाला.
साहिल, मैं तेरे को होस्टिंग राइट्स वापस दे रहा हूँ. तो क्लाउड में कैसे सेव होता है? नो आइडिया. सो यू कैन टेक केयर ऑफ.
सेव है भाई, सेव हो गया. वो तो मुझको पॉज कर देगा, स्टॉप कर देगा. सेव है. एंड कर भाई, एंड कर.